Hey, this is Matt with Mountain Stream Teas, and today we're testing two Ruby 18 freshly made teas in the actual garden where the Ruby 18 is grown. I am on location in Rayshui, and these beautiful teas were just finished the last couple days. I've just visited a partner farm, had some chats, tested them out, I picked them up, and we're just going to see the difference between a Ruby 18 black tea and a Ruby 18 green tea. Now this Ruby 18 green teas, now these are actually really quite rare teas, but let's try them out. So what I've got right here, I'm just doing sort of the competition style. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do boiling water. There's about 3 grams or so of tea in each one of these. I'm going to do a quick little 5-minute steep on these to really get the taste of the tea coming out. And then we'll try them out. Now, these teas, when you're doing sort of this competition style tasting, I think the saying is, when you're buying tea, brew it strong. When you're selling tea, brew it light. When you're enjoying tea, brew it somewhere in the middle. So when you're buying teas, you really do want to brew it strong. But we decided the hot water. We'll come back in about 5 minutes or so, and we'll try them out. Okay, we're back. We just gave them their 5 minutes, and let's pour them out and make sure that this was a right choice to buy these teas. Now, Ruby 18 is usually made into a black tea. It is not very often made into a green tea. Sometimes made into a white tea, a really beautiful white tea. But the reason is because Ruby 18 is a very, very unique cultivar, right? The flavor of the Ruby 18, that licorice minty flavor, is really, really quite strong. And it's not really suited to make much more than a white tea and a black tea. So these green teas, they're really quite rare. But let's try them out. So first, let's give them a little bit on the nose here. So this green tea here doesn't really have too much of sort of the essential Ruby 18-ness. It just sort of smells like a green tea. It's now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't actually buy very much of this tea. I only bought enough to do a special thing with it, perhaps a mystery, what that thing would be, I would do with it. But it's really interesting to try, because usually when you make tea out of the Ruby 18 cultivar, it's really, really, really strong, that essence, that Ruby 18 licorice, minty, malty flavor, even in the white teas. So let's try it out. Here's the green tea. So it's definitely got that green tea sort of bitterness and astringency up in the front. And then it's got like a really strong green bean, green tea flavor, really quite pleasant, really quite nice. But not really all that much. I mean, deep in the aftertaste, you might get a little bit of the mint in there, but it's really not that much. The green tea is actually not that interesting a tea. It's really not that interesting a tea. But it's interesting to try it. This is only the second green tea made out of the Ruby 18 cultivar I've ever had. Now, let's get to the black tea. Now, this is the classic black tea. I'm so happy that I can get this back into the site, because this is the garden I get our Ruby 18 black tea, and it's not a very big garden. And because it's such a high quality pick, oftentimes every time they pick the tea, it gets sold really quickly. Mint, licorice, and a little bit of a red fruit in there as well. Now, let's give it a try. Now, with this tea, you probably shouldn't do boiling water for 5 minutes. This is not a tea that you should do that with. So when I first drink it, there is a little bit bitterness and astringency due to this cultivar. But like I was saying before, if you want to buy a tea, you push it as hard as you can to know how bad it's going to get. But it's still very drinkable. And what's coming out is that mintiness, and there is a touch of that licorice in there. There's the malt, there's a little bit of the red fruit, and if you push it in your imagination far enough, you might get a little bit of floral in there as well. But not one of them is too much. They sort of all meld together, and it's really, really pleasant. Now, oftentimes with the Ruby 18s, you oftentimes get one that pops out. You might get licorice just too strong, or mint that's just too strong. But here on the East Coast, it's great because it doesn't really happen that way. And I'm so happy to have this back on the site. This is a great tea. That Ruby 18 minty, licoricey flavor, a touch of fruit, and just that little hint of a floral in the background makes this just a great tea. Now you can see I'm surrounded by this Ruby 18 cultivar right now. And actually right now we're looking like it's not too far away from another pick. Now this was done recently, but this is the springtime, so this stuff just keeps growing and growing and growing. And what they usually do is they come through and they pick the leaves that are ready. And that means that they're constantly making small batches for about maybe 2 weeks in the springtime. Right? They don't come through and just pick everything at once because this is a lower elevation. They wait until the plants are ready and then they pick. But they only make small batches, and that's why I'm so happy I could get some. This right here, you can see what I've picked right off the bush here. This is kind of the pick that you would make a black tea with. And like I was saying, I think this is scheduled to be picked on Friday. But this tea should be available for the sale. This video is being done in mid-March. The sale is going to be in a couple days, so this tea will actually be available to be for the sale on the weekend here. And again, I'm pretty happy that it's back in stock. But that's it for now. If you have any questions about this tea, any questions about anything that I've covered in this so far, get in touch. Facebook, Instagram, put a comment underneath this video, and see you next video.